Welcome, everybody, to the Lenox Board of Selectmen meeting, Wednesday, July 27th, 6 o'clock. And it's our regular meeting. Announcements from the chair, none right now. Acceptance of the minutes of July 6th.
I'd like to put a hold on that, David.
Okay, let's do that now.
Yep. The way I remember our vote going on shots was we were going to allow 4 tables on Church Street and 2 tables on, two tables on Church Street, 4 tables on Housatonic Street, with 2 people per table. And it doesn't reflect that in the minutes.
Okay.
That's accurate. I would agree with that change.
I would agree also.
So I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes with that part being amended.
Second?
All those,
All in favor?
I'm sorry.
aye.
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 It's okay.
Yeah.
I just
Okay.
got confused.
If I can just clarify that, so it should read, amend outdoor dining application as follows: reduce the number of tables on Housatonic Street from 5 to 3,
4.
to five down to 4, limit 2 chairs per table, and then
And 2 tables.
2 on Church.
Right,
Okay.
2 people per table.
right,
On their property.
correct.
Yeah.
Got it. Sorry about that.
And citizens open forum. Is anybody here to chat with us about that? Seeing nobody, we can move on to the
Actually, I might be.
Okay, I didn't know if you were there for that.
Well, I don't really know when I should bring this up, so I figure maybe.
Because you're just gonna stand up.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Is
I
this
don't know how to
regarding,
do this one.
John, if I may, is this regarding,
Yeah,
Birchwood?
yeah, is that?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna do that later.
Yeah.
That's just
acquisition.
later?
Yes.
Well, am I still gonna be allowed, can I be part of that, or should I just like
Yeah,
add my
yes.
voice now?
I'll let
Okay,
you,
then
I'll let you
just-
be a part of that.
Okay, thank
Or I should say, we will.
you. Okay.
Okay,
Great.
consent agenda, please.
Yes, sir. Consent agenda. 3. All right, on the consent agenda this evening. That's okay, I've got it. We have a one-day wine and malt license for the Beer Guy LLC, seeking that license for Saturday, August 13th from 11 to 5 p.m. as part of the Lenox Youth Basketball Association Craft Fair in Lilac Park. A certified bartender will be present. There's a cable advisory appointment. Linda Miller from the Cable Advisory Committee is seeking to have John Ronich. I apologize for pronouncing his name. I'm not certain I did that right. Appointed, seeking to have John Ronich appointed to the Cable Advisory Committee. There is a revised change of manager. At the June 15th meeting, we approved a change of manager at the Apple Tree Inn. Unfortunately, even before the ABCC approved the change of manager application, Attorney Lynch notified them that the individual no longer works there and that it is necessary for them to select another individual as manager. So we have a form before us tonight appointing James Kagan as the manager for the Apple Tree Inn. There's a police officer appointment. Chief Steve O'Brien is recommending the appointment of Blake Poore as a full-time police officer. The fire department has appointments. Chief Chris O'Brien is seeking our approval to appoint Chris Prue as a captain, Cameron Sibley as a lieutenant, and Cameron Mercantile as a lieutenant with the Lenox Fire Department.
So, can I get a?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
All in favor?
We want to second it?
No,
Am I
we got
seconding
it.
it?
No, yeah, you
Okay.
seconded it, yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It must be like offbeat tonight or something.
So, we move on to general business. And the first thing we have in general business is Lenox Youth Basketball Craft Fair events. And Ellie Sorrentino's not here. Do you want to bring us up to date on that?
Certainly. Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, there just wasn't a member of the LYBA board who was able to attend tonight's meeting. However, this is, whereas you've approved the one-day all alcohol license under the consent agenda for the craft fair, for the LYBA at the craft fair, there is a craft fair that they want to sponsor in Lilac Park on Saturday and Sunday. Since that's town property, it comes before the board for approval for use of the park. So that's the reason for the two separate agenda items here. One is the one-day license, and the other is for use of the park. So this is the companion permission. We had it on as general business, thinking that either Ellie or a member of the board would be present, or unfortunately unable to make it. However, there's nothing that substantially deviates from what they've done in the, I won't say the recent past, but in years past from what they're proposing to do in the park on the 13th and 14th. So.
It's a pretty great event. I know that my kids had been part of it when they were in the Youth Basketball Association for years. It's the best pancake breakfast on a Sunday morning in August you can get in the town of Lenox or probably in Berkshire County. So I think having, the craft fair and all the events that go along with that on the 13th and 14th is another great idea.
It's part of Summer Around Lenox. They've been doing it for 40 years, I'll figure.
Yeah, it's like motherhood and apple pie. I don't know, certainly not gonna say anything about that. So Warren, you got anything to add to that? We good? Okay.
You can watch me.
Okay, so I will move to approve the request of the Lenox Youth Basketball Association to use Lilac Park for a craft fair on August 13th and 14th.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Outdoor event. You want to go ahead to the next one?
Sure, there was a proposed, at our last meeting, there's a proposed outdoor dining fines discussion that we started. This is an issue of compliance by establishments within Lenox concerning their outdoor dining permits and our potential need to implement a fine or enforce our revocation policy.
I have my thoughts on that, but I'd like to hear what yours are. You guys, so. And Adam.
I'll start, just off the cuff here. We should have some policy. There's no question about
Yep.
that. We should have a policy in place.
Yes.
Unless I haven't been told, I don't think we've had a big issue this summer.
Right.
So there's not really anything, no glaring thing that we're looking at to go after anybody. So, but I think it's important that we have something on the books, just so when something does happen that we can do something.
Right, but we already have the ability to pull the license.
Yep.
And now, I guess what we're asking is, do we need something in addition to that? Or can we get by with just pulling the license and maybe set some time frames? Maybe pull it first offense for 30 days and second offense for a couple months or whatever, as opposed to a fine? I mean, or...
I think that's a bit harsh.
Okay.
I would say maybe a fine first time, second time, and then a pull.
Okay.
That's just, and I'm just winging it here. I'm not giving it that much
Okay.
consideration.
I agree. We need more than that.
Your best?
Okay, well, I mean, then if we're going to have a little bit more than the revocation policy, I think if we have a fine, it has to be a fine that really gets them to sort of sit up and say, we really don't want that to happen again.
Yeah.
So not $25,
No.
something that's maybe going to hurt a little bit.
Well, we don't want to make it worth their while to violate the policy and pay the fine.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's what happens. So putting everything, what you folks have put together, I mean, I agree with it. So we can have a step, a fine, 2 fines, and a pull. All right. Now, the question is, what do you think is an appropriate first-time fine? Is it $100, $500?
I think $100 is definitely
Yeah.
a first-time fine.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, $100.
$100 first.
You have to hit everybody.
Second time?
I mean, I'm fine with $100 a second time.
Okay. But after the second time, then we pull.
Then we pull it.
Okay. Okay. Is that okay with you, Warren?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
You good?
that sounds fine. Are we noticing them in writing first? So we're noticing, like, okay, this is your first offense. They have,
So you want to do a warning first?
well, no, I don't want to do a warning first. I want to make sure that people are paying attention. But there is a written time period, the way the bylaw is currently written, from what Mr. Ketchen has described to me, is the enforcement officer, who would be Mr. Colmer, our building commissioner, would provide a written notice, and they have 5 days to appeal that before the license is revoked.
So
So do
what
we just want to have a letter that goes out that says, you violated the policy, you owe us $100? And there's no appeal. Like, how do we want to work that?
Okay, that's what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
So would you like this, what's the vehicle to make them aware of the fact that there is a fine in place besides parents?
Yeah, that's the
That's-
thing we need to
that's
do. We
very
need to
true.
notify everybody that this is actually happening.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
I'm a business owner and say, I never got over. So I think we have to, what do you think?
Well,
Chris?
so this is really interesting, right? So, so the ability to, so right now the town has one stick, and that's the ability to pull the license. Doesn't suggest anything in terms of warning. It provides a 5-day appeal period, and that's pretty much it. The current bylaw doesn't contemplate a fine regime, right? It's you pull the license, and to Mr. Lane's point, that seems pretty harsh. And what I think, and I think you would most all agree on that. Then there's the question of whether or not there's been proper notice. Does everybody know what's going on? So I'm thinking that, and I'll admit this is a little bit off the cuff, given that we're halfway through the dining season, the outdoor dining season, more or less, our current bylaw doesn't contemplate, the establishment of a monetary fine, right? It's just pull the permit, right? So there's the way you amend a bylaw is by going to town meeting. We're going to have a town meeting in November. The dining season will be over. When folks reapply for outdoor dining in the spring, at that point there's an opportunity to, well, it may be less complicated than telling them midstream that, oh, we've got this new scheme in place that's not backed up in bylaw, right? You can sort of hit everything sequentially if you were to amend the town bylaws for fines, and then because it's going to be November 5th or something when people aren't dining outside, and then the spring when they want to dine outside, there's sort of a new sheriff in town.
My own thought is I put it off until May, because then it'll be fresh in everybody's mind, as opposed to November, and it'll be just before the tour season, or the outdoor dining season.
And I realize that the suggestion is bureaucratic and maybe a little bit clumsy, but
That's why you're sitting there.
yeah.
As bureaucratic as it sounds, it does take care of notifying people. People are going to get it. We're going
Yes.
to town meeting to
Town
do
meeting,
this.
it'll be a bylaw.
It's nothing sneaky, nothing like all of a sudden we just did that on Wednesday night. So, yeah, I think
All right.
I think you're right.
So we'll have further discussions about it certainly before May, and get it on the books. Okay with you folks?
Good.
But in the meantime, I mean, you've given staff a perfect framework to work from. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
Excellent. So we have a traffic study. The residents of Sunset Avenue requested a traffic study followed by speed bumps being installed on their street. The board felt that a traffic study should cover more than one location and asked that this item be added to tonight's agenda.
So I'll lead off a little bit. I've given this some thought, and obviously because I told the young woman who was here that week that we would do this and we'd discuss it. And You know, as I looked at Sunset Avenue over the course of the last 2 weeks, I've seen two issues, one of which is a parking issue. I mean, they go down Housatonic Street, down to Center Street. Now they're going down Sunset Avenue all the way down on the side of the road. So I think we have to take that off the table. I think we have to, as a parking, as approved parking.
It's not approved parking there though, is it, or is it?
Well, there's no sign saying no parking,
Okay.
right? That I've seen anyway.
I'm not sure, I don't know.
I don't think so. And the other thing is, we have those portable speed check things that list your speed as you go by it. So, with your permission, Chris and I can talk to Steve O'Brien and see if we can put one of those down there for a month and see if that has any effect. I'm less enthusiastic about putting speed bumps in, because I'd like to have every resident in favor of that before we just did it willy-nilly, just throw a speed limit on there. So those are my thoughts, but I'll certainly, I want to do something. So those are my thoughts, and what do you think?
I don't know what is involved in a traffic study, if it's putting those sensors across the street, if the traffic calming thing, you know, with the, you're going this fast and this is the speed limit, if that does anything. I don't know how that data is collected.
Okay, so we get the data and it says they're speeding.
Uh-huh.
I think flashing it in their face saying you're doing 35 miles an hour in a 15 mile an hour
Yeah.
zone is probably just as effective. Those traffic, you know, the issue is shift changes at the nursing home. I mean, it's obvious that that's when the people are, I'm late for work, or I've got to get home. So they're zipping up and down the street, and there are some children on the street, and it's a busy street. So, what do you think?
Yeah, you know, I don't have a magic answer either, but I think what you're saying is definitely a good first step.
Okay.
And it's only a first step, I think. We need to work at it and see how it goes. I mean, we have the same issues, not the same, but similar issues all around town. And I wish there was information out there that we were able to get to tell us how to deal with this kind of thing. You know, we can't put a traffic cop in every street in town. You know, realistically, what can we do? I don't know. Maybe Chris can, with his resources, reach out and find some help out there that we can use, some expert help, because we don't know the answers.
Okay, so I did a little research, and you know this thing I'm talking about, this flash your speed? There is a technology out now that can take a picture of a car that's exceeding it,
I did know that, yeah. I did know that.
and you can mail out fines. You've got now, I don't know if I want to get that far in yet, but if it persisted, maybe that's something to look at for, as you said, several streets in town. I mean, it's just a thought. I mean, I'm talking out loud, thinking out loud here, but I'm not saying we go out and do that, but I think we got more arrows in the quiver than we think we have, if we wanted to pursue it. So if we have, I mean, yes, it's in every neighborhood, but we have a commercial establishment really in this neighborhood, and people are, you know, going back and forth, so.
Well, I did notice, isn't there a new sign up on the corner of Church and Walker that says traffic calming area? That's new within the last 2 weeks, I think. Traffic calming area.
Oh.
And it's on, as you're coming down Walker Street into town, it's on the right-hand side before you get to the Church Street intersection. And there's a yellow diamond-shaped sign that says traffic calming area. I'd never seen that before. So I don't know if DPW put that up or DOT put that up. No, it's not, not flashing, it's just a yellow sign, and I was like, oh, that's new, because there is the speed limit one that's closer to 81 Walker Street, as you're just coming past Trinity Church on Walker Street coming into town. That one flashes because I've seen the numbers, so it's flashing and doing a good job.
They were flashing when you went through it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So it caught my attention. I don't know if there's...
That's what it's supposed to do.
Right.
It's exactly what it's
Right.
supposed to do.
And I don't know if there's one coming down Main Street
There is one.
Into
There is
town?
one in
Okay.
Bowden.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was part of that project with Main Street.
Okay.
With the bumps.
Yeah. And maybe there needs to be one coming up West Street, although West Street has the stop sign now.
Yeah.
Coming into town by the obelisk, so that's pretty good.
So Sunset Avenue, we can probably allow some parking on the north side going down somewhere before that first residence, so that Lilac Park people can park. But from there on down, it's just residents on both sides, and I'd certainly
I don't
like
think we
to-
should have parking there.
No parking there.
I don't think so.
So maybe we can sit down and figure out with both Billy and Chief O'Brien what the best way to sign that street.
Absolutely.
Okay? Okay. I got your feel for it. All right, what do we got
So we
next?
have a proposed revision to permit fees. In the packet tonight, there's a proposal from Don Fitzgerald seeking to revise some of the fees to more accurately reflect uniformity with the current fee structure and to more accurately reflect the time associated with providing required services.
I'm gonna ask you pull more permits than any of us up here now. What's your thoughts?
I think it makes perfect sense.
Okay, I did too.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not way too much,
Some-
it's
some of
not
them went
crazy
down.
numbers, but it's,
Yeah.
it's, they're putting the effort in, the work into it, and it's a lot of time, and I think it's fine.
I didn't understand the one, there were two particular fees that are noted to be construction cost. What did it say?
That's like for an in-ground pool.
Yeah,
Yep. In-ground and public.
okay.
So there's substantial costs to do that.
Okay,
And if you build a house or an addition, you pay on the value of what what that addition's gonna cost, and I think that's what he's trying to do here.
Based on the logic that the escalation in cost of a project escalates the complexity and therefore escalates the level of review that has to be undertaken by the inspector.
so yeah, I agree with all the suggestions. Don certainly knows more about this than I do, and I would concur with his
More
recommendations.
than any of us do.
Yeah.
So I think one of the important things is that we're kind of in line with what other communities are charging, so we're certainly not leading the pack, nor are we behind in the pack. So I personally have no problem with it, so I'd recommend we approve it. Do we need a vote?
Yes, I would move to approve the revised Inspections Department fee schedule as presented by Commissioner Colmer and Inspector Fitzgerald dated July 20th, 2022.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Wraps that up, doesn't it?
That wraps that up, so now we are going to.
Let me just ask if anybody has
Sure.
anything else that they'd like to talk about tonight.
I don't have anything.
Okay. You good, Warren? We're glad to have you back.
Good to be back.
Yes, it is. It's good for all of us. And,
Would you like me to read the?
no, just happy birthday to Neil, who's not here tonight. He was
Happy birthday,
birthday 2
Neil.
days ago. Happy birthday to your mom,
Thank you.
as we were trying to get out of here tonight. So, yeah, that's all I have.
Great. Then I guess I would move that the board convene an executive session to discuss strategy with respect to the following topics. Contract negotiations with union personnel, specifically the patrolmen and firefighters. Land acquisition at Brushwood Farms. Litigation related to Tool Lodging Group. Discussing such strategy in public session may have a detrimental impact on the town's negotiating position, so we're going to have a roll call vote.
And Lee and I,
Dave Roach, aye.
Mary Beth Metz, aye.
Warren Archie, aye.
that we will not be
We will not be returning to public session. Thank you all.